Having a look at some of the questions. Hopefully we have a few. Let me have a look and see. So I have not got any questions as yet. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today, coming up to Easter, is some of the poisonings that we can see commonly around about this time of year. It's beautiful. There are loads of lovely flowers out, daffodils, bulbs, all sorts of things. And anyone who has a young puppy knows that they explore everything by putting it in their mouth, similar to toddlers. And yeah, one of the things we do have to be really careful about is that these bulbs can cause problems with toxicity, can give dogs and cats really upset tummies. Other things thinking about flowers at this time of year, lilies particularly are highly toxic to cats. Most cat owners do know this, but any part of the lily is potentially fatal, even if they drink the water that lilies have been in. These are mainly your ornamental lilies, oriental lilies, and things like that. I am struggling at the moment. Here we go. I have got a question here. So, why is my dog eating grass? Right, we had a similar question last month about cats eating grass. Often dogs and cats will eat grass when they're feeling slightly nauseous. You'll often see them eating grass and then throwing up, usually the horrible grass and a bit of bile. I think if this is something that's happening consistently, then you should probably check with your vet. Any dog vomiting on a regular basis might have some underlying issue. It could be something as simple as just a slightly sensitive tummy, and it might require a food change. But there can also be underlying conditions and diseases that can cause issues. So I think if that is the case, pop in to see your vet. If it's a one-off thing, then don't worry too much. As I said last time, eating grass, one of the big things we need to be careful with in our dogs is when they eat grass, they can actually ingest little slugs and things, and they can potentially carry lungworm. Lungworm is the only fatal parasitic disease in the UK and actually kills dogs. So make sure when you get your parasite prevention, it includes lungworm protection. All of these products only have prescription medication in, so it won't be something you'd be able to pick up in a pet shop or a supermarket. To speak to your vet. As long as they've seen your animal in the last 12 months, they should be able to prescribe something that will protect them from lungworm. Hopefully that has answered your question. Oh, right, we've got from Gemma, my dog's nose is dry. Does this mean she is unwell? So this is a really common question we have, and also people coming in and saying, my dog can't be sick, his nose is still quite wet. Dogs are similar to humans. They drain tears from the surface of their eye down a little duct to their nose, and that's what keeps it wet and moist. Some dogs will tend to have a more moist nose than others, and it depends on what they're doing. If your dog has any sort of crusty, horrible ulcers or anything, then that's something that potentially could need some treatment and should be seen at your vet. If your dog's nose looks beautiful and has a lovely cobblestone appearance, you should be fine, and just keep an eye on it. As long as everything else is normal, they're eating, they're drinking, they're going to the toilet normally, and they're playing and annoying you or being cheeky and mischievous, you'll be absolutely fine. Right, let's have a look. I've got another question here. So I've got, hello, a friend of mine removed a tick from her cat, but there was still some attached to the cat. Is that dangerous? So yes, that is actually something that is potentially problematic. If you do see a tick on your cat or your dog, the best thing to do is probably take it to your local vet or get an automatic tick remover and use that to remove the tick. If we just pull ticks, often we leave the mouth parts still inside our dog or cat, and that can lead to an abscess forming. Doesn't always, but can do. By far the best thing to do, though, is make sure you use regular parasite control, so tick prevention. I personally like something that's an oral tablet so that we're not washing any pesticides into the environments when our dogs go swimming or our cats get caught in the rain or lie on our beds, and then we wash our bedding and it goes into the water system. But yes, if we make sure we're using something to prevent that, it minimizes the risk of dogs and cats getting any tick-borne diseases like Lyme's disease, which people get. There's certain areas in the country where it's more prevalent, but our dogs and cats can get that. And as the weather changes and we see different parasites coming from Europe, we could potentially see more serious things like babesia, which can be life-threatening. Right, let's scroll down and have a look at another question. Right, Gary has said, my cat is on Prozinc and injected twice a day, but still cries all day for food. She is putting on weight. Is the dose too high or too low, perhaps? Right, Gary, that's a really tricky one because obviously your cat is diabetic and that's quite an individual thing. Usually what we do with these animals is we start them on medication, insulin, but the same as people who are diabetics, there's always different doses depending on the individual, and depending on what the routine for the animal is, that may change. Also, if the diet or the amount of exercise your cat is doing alters, then the insulin requirement will change. One of the easiest ways to check with cats, rather than hospitalizing them for 24 hours and getting a blood sample every 2 hours, is doing a one-off blood test called a fructosamine that your vet can talk to you about. And that gives us an idea of how they are doing for the previous 2 weeks. There is some new technology coming where we can implant something underneath their skin and monitor blood glucose continually, but that technology is literally just available, but it would be worth speaking to your vet about that, particularly if your cat is really hungry. Right, let's go down and have another look and see. My dog constantly eats sticks and twigs. Is this okay? He eats his food regularly and doesn't throw up. Okay, this is a really good question. My dog is obsessed with sticks. He is a Labrador and will pick them up whenever I'm just checking to see if he's snoozing somewhere. He might put in a guest appearance. He will obsessively chew and eat sticks. Lots of dogs love sticks. Like I say, my dog's exactly the same. The big problem with sticks and twigs is particularly if we start throwing these for dogs or if they chew them and crunch on them, potentially they can damage teeth, but more importantly, little splinters can penetrate into the mucous membranes in the mouth. If we throw sticks, some of the most horrific injuries are when a dog leaps up, catches a stick, and it dives into its mouth and sort of lances through the back of the throat. We've got an awful lot of very important blood vessels, our windpipe, very, very important nerves down there. And actually it can be very, very dangerous for dogs. I don't ever throw sticks. If your dog is obsessed with sticks, there are really good safe stick substitutes that you can buy in some of the pet shops. It's not quite the same as the real thing. If your dog absolutely has to do something, I'd probably say get a nice round ball. Lots of dogs, when they're out on a walk or doing something, just need to decompress when they get excited, and chewing on a ball or rolling a ball or carrying something in their mouth will fulfill that need for them. Right, let's have a look and see. Okay, I've got, hi Bridget, my dog has taken to eating birdseed that has fallen out the feeder. Will this cause damage? Right, potentially yes. So one of the big problems is if birdseed has fallen out the feeder, especially if it has gone slightly moldy, we can get poisoned with mold called aflatoxicosis, which is really dangerous for dogs. Depends on the season. The other thing is a lot of the bird seed can have some of the fatty content around it, just to boost the nutrient intake for the birds. The problem with that is, with dogs having a high fat intake like that in predisposed dogs can trigger conditions like pancreatitis. So ideally, if you can, try and fence it off, make it unavailable, or put something underneath that can maybe catch it so that your dog can't jump up and do that. It is a tricky one. Dogs are forever eating things that they shouldn't be eating, which is very, very obvious if you've ever had a Labrador or a Retriever or anything like that. I've removed some interesting things from dogs' inside. So yes, it is a challenge, but if you could prevent him from that, would be a good thing. Right, let's have a look. Oh, that's good. So we've got someone who, Emma's dog just eats the sticks. They don't throw them. Brilliant. Just make sure he doesn't get any sticks or twigs trapped up in the roof of his mouth between his teeth, because that can happen as well. So just if you notice any pawing at the mouth, dribbling, anything like that after playing with sticks, again, that's always a visit and a check to the vet. Or if your dog's very good and will let you have a look, you can do that yourself. Right, let's have a look and see any others on here. Oh, that's a good one. So we've got, what are the best rabbit-friendly plants for gardens? This is a great question. So the Rabbit Welfare Organization and Rabbit Awareness Week, RAW, do fantastic posters on, and I don't have one available that I could show you, but they do have posters of all common plants in gardens. They have things that are good for treats, so you can give them a teeny tiny bit every now and again. Too much will cause them to put on weight. They do have things that are for every day, and then they do have things that are highly toxic. It's a difficult one. If you want your garden to be secure, I think one of the most important things is to make sure that your rabbits can't get out. A little bit of grass, not too much. Bloat is a real issue, especially coming out of the winter months. I saw a guinea pig with bloat a few days ago, and they've always eaten grass, but just moved to a slightly longer area because the grass has grown, and that was enough to set off an episode of bloat. Dandelions are always a firm favourite. What you do need to be careful about is the amount of oxalates and calcium in some plants. I think the easiest thing to do is to go to the Rabbit Awareness Week website, and they will be able to give you the chart that you can download, because I won't be able to list everything here. Rhubarb, anything like that is dangerous. Tomato plants aren't good. I'm just thinking any kind of bulbs would be a no-go. Anything that would be poisonous to people, foxgloves, anything like that, definitely not. So just be really careful. And what I'd say is you need controlled access, so not unlimited, particularly if you're looking at quite a lot of grass. Right. Let's see. Right. Hi, my dog keeps damaging his dew claw. Should we remove it? That's a tricky one, John. It depends on whether we're talking about a front or a back dew claw, and whether or not it is a floppy one or if it's attached. So what I mean by floppy is dew claws are actually the thumbs for dogs. On the back legs, they don't particularly need them. Some dogs do have back dew claws, and sometimes you can feel that they're attached by bone, and sometimes they're just really floppy. It's a bit of skin and some tendon and blood vessels. If you have a really floppy dew claw that keeps getting caught, I would definitely have it removed on the back leg, because it's not really serving any purpose whatsoever. If you've got a dew claw on the front leg, that's a bit more difficult because dogs do often use them. I don't know if your dog ever holds something. They almost use it as thumbs to hold kongs or things when they're chewing. And some dogs, when they're turning at speed, almost use it to balance. So dogs like greyhounds and things will use their dew claws quite a bit. Having said that, if it's something where you've got continual damage every few months and it's causing quite a lot of pain and distress, then it might be worth considering having it taken off. But I think that's best thing to do is have a discussion with your vet, because they'd be able to have a look. Other things to consider is if there's actually an abnormality with the dew claw itself. Some dogs can have problems with their nails, nutritional deficiencies, and it means that they break and tear very, very easily. So that could possibly be an underlying problem with that one. Right, just going to scroll down and have a look. More questions. There are loads of questions today. I've got, hi Bridget, my cat won't drink out of her bowl, only the tap. Is this normal? Yes is the answer. Cats like to be really, really awkward and constantly difficult. So one of the things that they don't like doing is drinking from anything that doesn't mimic one of the natural water sources that African wildcats drank from. So a running tap is like a stream, or a dripping tap is like a stream. Water fountains are actually available for cats that mimic this very, very well. So that's something that might be worth looking into. The other thing is cats don't like anything that is, they have to put their face in and their whiskers touch the edge. They prefer a very wide, shallow bowl, preferably clear, so it looks like a pool of water. So something like glass, a wide, shallow glass bowl. And final thing about cats is do not put their water near their food. They don't like that, just to be awkward like children sometimes. But it is because as African wildcats, they wouldn't ever have taken their kill to the water source. It would be nicked off them because they're quite small cats, or contaminate the water source. The other thing is don't put it near where their litter tray or toileting area is, because again, they won't be comfortable drinking there. Fantastic. Right, let's have a look and see. Perfect. I think that looks like we've got most of those all answered. Final thing, I was just talking a bit about toxicities around about the Easter period. One of the things to remember, most people know this now, chocolate is very poisonous for dogs. Don't give your dog Easter eggs. Some dogs will thieve Easter eggs, but a lot of vets working over the Easter weekend will spend their time clearing up chocolate dog vomit. So if you can, hide the Easter eggs, keep them far away. All joking aside, the darker the chocolate, the more dangerous, and dogs can actually end up dying from theobromine toxicity, which is what is in chocolate. It does depend on the amount your dog has eaten, whether it's white, milk, dark chocolate, or cocoa solids, and also on the weight of your dog. So there is a very easy calculation that we can do. If you do need any advice, ring your vet. But best thing to do is keep all the chocolate fondues and Easter eggs locked away. Final thing to say is, with all the lovely hot cross buns and things, just remember raisins and grapes, very poisonous for some dogs, not all dogs, but it is something that is often fatal. It causes kidney failure in our dogs, so just be very aware if your dog has eaten something like that. Again, trip to the vet sooner rather than later, because if it's still in your dog's stomach, we can make them vomit and clear everything up. So I think that is pretty much most of what we were asking today. So hopefully everyone found that helpful. Any other questions, just pop them on our Facebook page or ring our clinic and one of our vets will always be happy to help. Thanks everyone. Have a lovely Easter and see you soon. Bye.